is North Korea doing this now? Last year it was all about missile testing, saber rattling, name calling. Why the about face and why now? Audrey?
Well, I don't have a direct line to Kim Jong Un, but I would think that in a sense, right, he has accomplished what he has decided to do, which was to show that he has the capabilities, right? There was this, many missile tests and all that. So he has kind of flagged to everybody that, hey, I can do it, right? So and that got people's attention. I mean, he came in for a lot of flack, but he got people's attention. And now I think he wants to pivot to the other side, which is to develop the economy. And it's shown that it can work. Market reforms has been working at lower level, local level. And I think also, even though he is like a dictator, as people say, I think he also needs to keep his people happy. I mean, it is not a very strong economy, and if he can build it up and also reduce the reliance of the North Korean economy on China alone, then why not? This gives him an opportunity to reach out the West. Well, Trump reciprocated, and maybe his long-term plan is to open up, get more parties involved in the development of the economy.
The fact that he's chosen to shift from military escalation to diplomacy over the course of this year, beginning with his New Year's Eve speech, or New Year's Day speech, is the fact that it's a signal, not of weakness, but actually of strength, that because no one really gets into a negotiation or into discussions unless they feel that they're going to negotiate or discuss from a position of strength. Yeah. And he feels that he is in a position of strength. And I agree with your point. It's a signal also that he feels that his nuclear capability, his fledgling nuclear arsenal, is actually mature and operational, and therefore he can credibly threaten the United States. And the very fact that Americans also have responded in the way they have also signals that they perceive the threat to be credible. It's not a bluff. And therefore gives Mr. Kim Jong Un the clout to therefore say, let's have discussions and let's talk about other things that are of interest to us.
I like to add also a point. I think he's also, these things are happening also because of the peculiar circumstances of the leadership, right? You have a Trump who broke from all the orthodoxies of not talking to North Koreans. So that kind of led to the door being opened slightly more. Yeah. And also the fact that you didn't have Park Geun-hye, you had a Moon Jae-in from the progressive wing, and he has made it his personal mission to push for peace, right? Yeah. So it allowed him also to use the South Korean as, to open the doors. You have the Winter Games and all that. Yeah. So it's a confluence of many factors that, I think have led us to this point. Yeah. And it will be very interesting to see how things go. Yeah. And I think sadly in this case, I think Japan is feeling a bit adrift. My sense is, Mr. Donald Trump, he might act in a typical CEO fashion, which is broad brush strokes. I agree on this, that, and the other thing, and I shall leave the rest for other people to negotiate. And if, let's say, they come up with broad outlines on denuclearization, a peace treaty, you might even see a separate set of bodies to basically, say, how is this going to be implemented? I mean, what's the same? Mr. Moon is going to Russia right now. So you see, even though it is a meeting between Mr. Trump and Mr. Kim, the fact is, I think all the key members are now having a lot of backroom discussion. So the wheels are being put in motion.
Yeah. We don't know how Mr. Trump is going to react to Mr. Kim Jong Un. So they need to hit it off. But a short and sharp discussion with some positive announcements to be made would be the best outcome, I think. Because it means all the hard work at the working level has paid off. That means all the details worked out by both sides, and they could spend the rest of the day doing what really matters as well, which is equally or more important than the details of what needs to be discussed, which is building that rapport, that trust, because there's no trust whatsoever right now. There's a trust deficit, and to re-establish trust at the highest possible level. There's nobody above these two gentlemen. It's just them. If the rest of the day can be spent on that, I think it matters quite a lot. They could have a hamburger together, right?
It's the promised hamburger.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Change into something more informal, go outdoors a little bit. There's nothing to stop them from doing that. And I think they have a lot of leeway. And I can even conceive of another permutation where if things drag out to such an extent and there's a need for a day 2, I won't be surprised if there are contingencies for a day 2 to work out something. Because all things said and done, in the least, President Donald Trump has to walk out with some deliverables. Going back to the business reference again, he has, you don't walk out of a discussion without a deal of some sort, or at least some semblance of a deal, and he owes that to his voters and constituents back home. He cannot return to the US empty-handed. So just something piecemeal, even that's important, but that could be even hard to achieve, because of the lack of trust and the ongoing disagreements and disputes that have been going on.
Both sides have invested so much, broke away from so much of history, tradition, and the advice of people around them, that I think they have committed themselves to coming up with something. So Mr. Trump himself said that, this won't be just a photo op. So he has to have something. So I reckon it will be something like clear that we're going to meet again in so many months, and we have agreed that we should work towards a peace treaty, right? The nitty-gritty will come later. But there's certain clarity in clear talking points that there has been some progress made. So that basically allow them to take something home.
Yes, and as Mr. Trump likes to say, we'll see what happens
Yes.
on June 12th.
Yes.
Thank you so much
to
the both of you for being here.